Hello and welcome to another jungle video, and in this one we are going to be having a look at the best junglers for those of you looking for some fast LP gain. As a reference point, I used the world's boot campers who are obviously looking to get to the challenger MMR as soon as possible, and therefore really spamming champions that are not only strong in the meta, but also really good for solo queue in giving them that carry potential. I looked at every single jungle boot camper, what junglers were in their top 5, added up how many junglers appeared in that top 5, and then collated a list for you as well as an honorable mentions at the end for those of you who might want some additional pointers and context over not only what are the best junglers to carry in solo queue, but also the junglers you might happen to see on the world stage over the coming month. But first, Rost has a message.
Hello, yes, it is me Rost with a shiny new look, and given that you are not blue cane enthusiasts, you all already know about Opera GX and their advanced technology, ranging from CPU and RAM limiters, customization of appearance, Twitch and Discord integration, and built-in audio players. So like my new skin, Opera GX has a new feature, the pinboards. Pinboards allow you to save links, guides like Virkayu's beautifully constructed and laser-infused jungle tutorials, or simply the latest trailer of your favorite motion picture franchise. You can use it to collect ideas for how to organize your gaming room, save motivational cards for your solo queue journey, or simply track jungle statistics from patch to patch so that you can have peak level analysis and know that I simply am the best form. You can even create notes and save images to share with other puny humans, all from within Opera GX. If their feedback is less than pleasing, you know what to do. For the best browser experience, download Opera GX from the link in the description below and organize your mind and body for a galactic amount of LP gain using pinboards.
Alright, showing up 5th on the list, and we'll go in reverse order here for a little bit of added suspense, we have Talon. Now I'm going to get this out of the way very quickly. Zed is not in the top 5. Why? Because he simply cannot do what the Talon does. Yes, Zed Jungle can clear fast. Yes, Zed Jungle has a lot of damage. Yes, Zed Jungle has gap closes and a little bit of, map scaling built into his W. But why pick Zed when you can pick Talon and not only clear just as fast, but also have unprecedented mobility and map rotations? Someone's dying in the bottom lane in your mid lane, that's a few parkour moves to the south, and all of a sudden you've rotated, you pick up a double kill, and you move on with your life. You can afford to play hyper aggressive, you can afford to farm a lot if there's not a lot of action, and you can always react and rotate to whatever's happening on the map to get yourself fed. Most importantly, with Talon, you can abuse the Ghost Blade item, which was just reverted. You combine that with a Conqueror and Gore Drinker core itemization set, and not only are you now unable to die, but you can still kill everyone with ease. The built-in sustain allows versatility in terms of teamfighting. Are you someone who loves assassins, but loves to dive in, make the plays, and get out? But with your typical assassin build pass in the squishy lethality or raw AP nature, if you're playing something like an Evelyn, usually once you go in, if you don't kill someone and get out somehow, you simply die. With this build path, you can actually go in, sustain, and get out with ease. Your ultimate allows it, your bleed damage is just great for early ganks. You do have a slow on the return proc of your W. Your Q is a gap closer, and that's why the world's boot campers are using this a hell of a lot. It simply allows them to control the game in a way that a lot of other junglers simply cannot, almost in a Nidalee kind of sense, except he only has like a quarter of the mechanical intensity, and you don't really need to practice 1,000 clears to make sure you're actually super good at it. Pro players love something that not only can clear fast, gank fast, rotate fast, but also something that can translate to the pro stage by having survivability. And when you're trying to gank in an organized setting, you can't simply afford to walk into a lane and expect to kill someone. Very few times will that happen. You need to have a great angle of approach with mobility, which Talon provides, and if you do have raw burst damage, you need to have a lane that has CC and equal amounts of damage as well. This is where Zed will struggle. If you don't draft properly, Zed's going to be walking around and unable to get any ganks off. Talon very easily can circumvent the fog of war, approach ganking angles really easily, and with his slow involved with his gap closer, he just has that added piece of kit that Zed simply cannot match. And surprisingly, despite all the hype over Zed's buffs originally, Talon is just the one that's run away with it, and most of the pros, most of the smurfing junglers you're going to see lately are going to be using Talon as the go-to LP machine. But if they're not doing that, and they happen to be T1 Ono, for example, who is just spamming the living hell out of Ekko, then you're gonna go with Ekko. Basically the AP version of the Talon, and really Ekko's issue has always been, can he clear fast enough to actually get onto the map to use his 2.25 second W stun? And now with that buff from 150 to 200%, yes he can. However, here you're not looking for some kind of Conqueror rune set. You don't need to artificially build up your sustain through items like Gore Drinker, not that we have an AP Gore Drinker anyway. You are simply looking for pure unbridled damage. And because you have that shield, and because you have that movement speed passive, and because you have the rewind button on your ultimate that also can heal you up nicely, You don't need to artificially boost your HP stats, although Rocket Belt does come with a fair amount. You're not going to have the same roaming potential as you are as a Talon, but you do have really fast clear speeds and you are one of the best counter gankers in the game. Tracking junglers to their projected location and simply setting up shop for a well-timed W counter gank once they've blown their spells on your laner is quintessential Ekko success. In addition, one of the things that all of these champions have in common, as Ekko is 4th on the list and there's 3 more to go, is that they can, if things don't go well, farm sufficiently well enough to always maintain parity with the enemy jungler if they're risking things for ganks and so on. Ekko has the ability once more to navigate the fog of war. He has the map scaling with his E, much like the Talon. Obviously not as much, no one has as much. But when you factor in how hard Ekko snowballs, and when you factor in that it's very easy for him to use his W and his ult to dive, I mean you can dive pre-6, obviously at 6 it's a little bit easier. He fits into this fast LP box by saying, listen, if the game goes badly, I scale and I can kill someone 100%. If the game goes well, no one gets to fight me whatsoever. And the fact that his itemization is easy, efficient, and something that adds to our combos just means he has so much 1v9 carry potential. And unlike Talon, who might translate to the Pro World stage depending on draft choices, Ekko typically doesn't always do as well. This happened 2 years ago. They buffed him, people picked it, everyone lost, and they realized, you know what, it's a great solo queue choice that thrives amongst the chaos, that thrives amongst the randomness of people. But an organized play where you need a bit more coordination in terms of landing that W stun, you don't really get away with doing whatever you want in the jungle, it should have less success. But if you're simply looking for fast LP and solo queue, Ekko is definitely the one that the pros are spamming and that you should spam as well. Third on the list is Graves. Now Graves on the tier list, I put him at the top of my second page, which is still technically S page for the larger meta, but his win rate is not that great, and a lot of the champions here on this list, their win rate is not that great. It requires you to understand how to snowball, how to survive, how to position correctly in skirmishes and teamfights, and ultimately, how to use your leads. With the fleet footwork buff, Graves now has added sustain and movement speed from the jungle position. Ever since his original round of nerfs, he was struggling to sort of get back into the meta. We shifted the spawn timers, which obviously is an anti-Graves change, a good change. But now with fleet footwork, not only can we be a little faster, a little healthier, if you look at the Graves video I just put on the gameplay channel talking about RNG Way's insane ability on the champion to control the map, to control the game and to smurf on everyone, you will see that the synergy Graves has with this rune set and the atomization is just a perfect combination for solo queue carry. And if you draft strong lanes in pro play, he should have no issue suppressing, removing, and obliterating the enemy jungler from existence. Canyon did it, everyone does it, it's what Nidalee Graves were built to do. The additional thing is for solo queue, what's very nice about Graves is that if you want to go a bit of a lethality build with a cheaper build path, you like the Ghost Blade, you like the Eclipse, you can do so. If you want to go Shieldbow, Collector, Lord Dominix, you want to throw in an Infinity Edge, you are going to do so much damage in teamfights. If you know how to position, again, this is very important, if you know how to control the map, understand map flow, understand how to counter jungle, take those 1v1s, and you know how to use your True Grit passive of armor stacking against enemy junglers very well, he's just a smooth operator. And if you understand your matchups, you know, okay, look, I don't like this matchup, this guy's fed, I don't want to face him, it doesn't really matter with Graves. His map scaling is unprecedented, and it obviously gets refreshed every time you auto-attack someone, so it's enhanced. And guess what, if you can fill top lane and mid lane, you can take Graves there as well. Versatility. I love it. Second on this list is Qiyana, and some thought she might have been first, but really she is being spammed by the Korean and Chinese junglers. I'm seeing this pick absolutely everywhere, all over solo queue, all over their top feeds. They are spamming it. You saw by Tarzan and LNG today, sorry for the spoilers, but trust me, you're gonna see a hell of a lot more Qiyana in this world. The difference between her and the Talon and the Zed is that not only does she provide the same nature of snowballing, it's also that she has an absolute game-changing ultimate. If you play Zed well, it can be one of the most hype moments in your solo queue games and on the world stage. Not only that, but because she has invisibility, because she has that EQ combo, because she has the ability to also stun under tower, it means you can clear fast, it means you can look for early ganks, it means you can skirmish well, it means you're slippery, it means you can dive whenever. She's basically the most pure form of assassin in the game when it comes to total kit. It's overloaded, let's be honest. But if you use and choose your elements correctly as you move around the map and use them intelligently, there's almost no bad situation for you. As I said, I will break down in the Mobalytics video a bit more how to use a champion, how to succeed with her combos, her rune sets, which abilities to max. But in the meantime, I do have a full gameplay of Qiyana. I'll link all of these videos in the description for you. So if you want to have more on Qiyana, how to use it to actually carry, that'll be below. Same for the rest of the junglers in this video. But also, as you've seen on screen with the builds, you're obviously abusing the Ghost Blade like every other AD assassin is now. And yes, Eclipse and Cyrillas are sort of the better combinations to run with that, but you can go Prowler's Claw, try it out. Eclipse has the better win rate though. You are pretty much guaranteeing that you are simply going to one-shot someone. They will die 100%. But for more organized play, Clash, Flex, or the world stage if you happen to be playing on that, Gore, Drinker, and Conqueror work just as well, much like the Talon build. It's worth noting that at the time of my data collection, Qiyana showed 18 times in the top 5 for the World Junglers accounts that I counted. That's most likely going to increase and show up in more accounts as they get revealed and as they play the game a bit more over the course of the entire championship. The next champion was 19, but the Graves was 12, so the top 2 here are really far and away the most popular for getting first LP gains. And hopefully you can see from the sort of overloaded, overhyped description of the champion, she just provides absolutely everything you need to be an assassin in the jungle, more so than Kha'Zix, because CC is such a damn important facet of ganking and controlling the game. And you're not always going to have it, and you're not always going to choose that element, but the fact that it's an option and it's something you can play around is never to be underestimated. That, unlike all the other assassins now, you don't really die as much, you just have Ravenous Hunter and you exist perpetually through sustain. It's kind of irritating. But on that note, just eking out the Qiyana for the number 1 slot, the most picked champion obviously is going to be Lee Sin. Minus the nerfs, minus all the changes around him recently, hasn't changed a thing. The champion was overtuned, now he's just tuned. Gore Drinker, Conqueror, Sterex, Black Cleaver. You might have noticed that Booties and Cosmic Insight is really just a favorite. Obviously, they provide more movement speed once you get your boots, and you have ability haste and summon a spell haste, which is great for smiting stuff. There's no downside, and the other secondary pages don't really offer as much universal application as do Booties and Cosmic. Now, as you think about Lee Sin, obviously you think about map mobility, you have a shield for safety, you're one of the best disengage kicks in the game. You can obviously go lethality also if you choose. But what's the one common factor among all of these 5 champions? Instant map scaling, instant mobility. They can all get over walls, move around the fog of war, abuse ward placements, and get into ganking angles with their damage, slows, and CCs significantly better than every other champion in the game. But you do need to know how to pilot him. You do need to understand that you don't have as much of the scaling component as some of the other assassins in this game. Yes, you snowball, but you don't quite snowball as hard. That means if it looks like you're playing Lee Sin in slow motion compared to the world's bootcampers who are spamming it, then maybe he's not quite the champion for you. But because of that slow, because of the sustain and the disengage kick, and of course the gap closer, it can also be an engage kick, obviously. Much like Qiyana provides so many positives with so few negatives that even though his highs might not reach the peak of some other junglers like an Ekko or a Talon, the lows are significantly less as well. Please understand, with all these junglers, including Lee Sin, the reason why the world's bootcampers are using it to climb fast and get high up the ladder as they can, obviously the Riot accounts give them boosted MMR, but it's because these champions allow them to play at a frequently high pace. Nothing is slow, everything is decisive. There is no hesitation, and the champions with their damage and kits just simply allow them to accentuate their will on the map and on the enemy team. That is simply something that comes with jungle knowledge and jungle experience, which is why I make general tutorials so that we can all strive to reach the point where we can abuse these champions just as well. Finally, a brief honorable mention list to champions that showed up that are obviously very good, they're just not using them currently. Talia used quite a bit, I think we'll see her on the world stage for sure. Nidalee obviously satisfies that Graves kick, and Canyon has a 100% win rate in 12 games on her, so I don't think he's going to see her. But if he does, make sure you watch the game, it will be absolutely beautiful. Virkayu is being shown as well. More junglers with a lower win rate, but significantly higher skill cap when you play it properly. And just so you know, Zed actually showed up after these 3, but a little bit less, so I didn't really throw him in the mentions. But definitely look out for the Talia, Nidalee, and Virkayu if those are champions you enjoy playing. And on a personal note, I am incredibly surprised that Jarvan is not being spammed more in solo queue, but I understand it as well. He just doesn't provide the same carry potential, although I definitely think we will see him a lot more on the world stage than some of these other picks. But maybe they won't. Let's see exactly how the pros view the meta. I do expect we'll see a little bit of that cheeky Lilia as well. Some of the pros were spamming her also. But there you have it, the best 5 plus honorable mention champions that the pros are spamming at their bootcamp to climb as fast as possible. I think you can as well. Just remember, there's a lot of downside to these champions, a lot of feast and famine. Focus on your pathing, focus on your brain, make sure you're making good decisions, be patient, and all of these picks, including the assassin picks, will giveth to you what they taketh away from your enemies. Thank you very much for watching. Please do like, share, and comment if you did enjoy and learn something. That'll be our tier list video for this week, and we will head into core EDU for the rest of it. Please keep your notifications ready to go, and as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.